Hey everybody, hope everyone is well. Welcome to my channel. So today I want to do a video about Micro Four Thirds, what it's like when using high ISOs, so taking photos in low light. Now, when I started researching Micro Four Thirds about 3.5 years ago as a potential option for my wildlife photography, I was researching lots of forums and blogs. So I read lots of positive stuff about the size, the weight, the computational features that everyone seemed to rave about, which a lot of full frame cameras and APS-C cameras didn't have. But there was one common misgiving that I kept reading about, and it was basically high ISOs and Micro Four Thirds don't go together. On lots of different pieces I read, it said you can't really shoot much more than ISO 800 unless you want a really noisy photo. So basically 3.5 years ago, I bought a pretty beaten up used EM1 Mark II with equally beat up and used Panasonic Lumix 100-400, and I'd never seen them before. I live on a small island, so there's no rental options. I don't have any photography buddies that I can share, so literally when I buy something, it's often the first time I've ever seen it or used it. So basically I took a bit of a gamble and I bought the EM1 Mark II with that lens and was thinking I'll use it as a backup. And because my Nikon stuff I was using at the time was so heavy, especially my D500 coupled with my 300mm 2.8, it's an absolute beast. And I just wanted something, sort of a B system that I could use on occasion when I wanted something much more lightweight. So anyway, I rolled the dice, saw a good deal, bought the camera and the lens. I was half expecting not to like it and thought, well, I'll probably sell it on in about a month if it doesn't work. But anyway, I got it, and to my huge surprise, I loved it almost instantly. And my Nikon stuff started staying at home more and more, and I was taking out the M1 Mark II with the Panasonic 100-400. Like everybody else, I loved the size and the weight of the lens. I mean, this is the Panasonic 100-400, which I've still got, which I am thinking of selling, so I just don't use it now, but this is a wonderful lens, just a feat of engineering. This is the equivalent of 200-400mm. Yes, it zooms out, but it's incredibly light. Also has a really close focusing distance. I take a lot of shots of butterflies and dragonflies and insects and reptiles. This lens is so perfect for all of that stuff, and it totally took me surprise, as the camera did, but really this lens really took me by surprise. So I was so attracted to the weight and the size, but actually that would have all been irrelevant if the images from it weren't good, and they were. So basically my Nikon full frame setup was sitting at home, and my D500 was sitting at home, and I was using the EM1 Mark II for about a year and loving it. And then I got an OM1, and I later got a 300mm f4. I continued using that for a couple of years and still have that and still love that and will continue to use it. A marvelous system, a little bit bigger than that lens, but still very lightweight, and it's amazing what that can do. All the features it has, I just love. So in this video, without going into too many details, because if you watch my videos, you know I don't really like specs, I don't like technical talk, I'm going to share some photos that I've taken, all at what would be considered relatively high ISOs, mainly with the OM1. Now, since the dawn of DxO and Topaz and all these other AI noise reduction softwares that exist, it's basically leveled the playing field. Whether a small sensor produces more noise or not now is not so much of a talking point, because the anti-noise software is so good these days. It cleans it up so nicely. And I put my files through DxO Pure Raw 2. I don't sharpen anything, and usually I'm really happy with the results. It's not always perfect, like Topaz, sometimes there are some artifacts, and I made a video about that somewhere up here. I'll put a link and you can see what I mean, but usually I'm really happy with the results. And it maintains detail and gets rid of all that noise. So I have no qualms about shooting at ISO 8000, 10,000 or even more. So what I'm doing is I'm going to show some pictures. I'll put what the ISO was and the other settings, and hopefully you enjoy the photos. And if you're on the fence thinking about Micro Four Thirds, thinking, well, I do a lot of low light shooting, it's not going to work. Hopefully these photos will show you that you can get really great results at high ISOs. As long as you know what you're doing in terms of the exposure triangle, shutter speed, aperture and ISO, and you're keeping it all in check, the OM1 especially is fantastic at high ISOs, and I've taken a lot of shots that I'm really happy with. Anyway, If you're new here, please like the video. I really appreciate all new subscribers, and let me know in the comments which photo you like. So don't be afraid to shoot at high ISOs. That goes with all types of cameras, whether it's micro four thirds or full frame, because all cameras generate noise if you get the exposure wrong. But yeah, don't be afraid if you've got a micro four thirds to shoot at high ISOs. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the pictures. See you on the next one. Bye.